Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back here in Shanghai for this event, which has become one of the key events in the platinum industry. Thanks again for the organizers to have invited me to present you today a couple of slides on the LPPM, the London Platinum Palladium market. So, as it was said, I am working for Metal Technologies. We are one of the leading refiners in the world. We have a global footprint, worldwide footprint. We are part of the Tanaka Precious Metal Group, a Japanese company, and we are operating in 3 continents. We have refineries in USA, in Switzerland, our headquarters, and as you can see from this slide, we have a strong presence in Asia with refining in Singapore, Hong Kong, and very close here in Suzhou with our country manager, Bernie Chen, here in the room. So Metalor is also one of the 5 LBMA and 5 LPPM referees. And I am talking to you today about the LPPM because I have been a part of the organization for about 6-7 years. Until 3 years ago, I was the physical chairman. I'm not part of the organization anymore, but they still use me to present a little bit what they are doing. So the main goal of the LPPM is to provide to the market a transparent and clear list of refiners which are following strict standard sets and maintained by the non-profit organization. It's based on 3 pillars: the good delivery list, the responsible sourcing, and the sponge accreditation. I'm going to go through those 3 pillars one by one, starting with the good delivery list. The good delivery list is basically a list of the refiners which are allowed to sell their investment product, their bars, directly on London and Zurich. For refiners, it's very interesting to be on the good delivery list because it means that you are offered a guarantee that the vaults in London and Zurich, the clearer, will take your platinum and or palladium bars, whatever volume you have at any time, and they will pay for it the official price, which, as you all know, is updated daily. There are currently 34 refiners on the platinum good delivery list and 31 on the palladium good delivery list. The list is publicly available on the website. I have listed a couple of them on the slide, and you can see that there are only 2 refiners for the platinum good delivery list from China, and one of 2 was just accredited a couple of weeks ago. So there is still a very large potential for Chinese companies to enter in the LPPM, and this is also the official goal of the presentation today. When a refiner is on the LPPM good delivery list, it has to provide blueprints and pictures and register their bars, which we call the good delivery bars. Those can be either large bars, like the palladium on the right one, or plates, like the platinum one on the left one. Those products have to weigh between 1 and 6 kilograms. The purity has to be 395 and above, with specific dimensions and specific markings. And obviously there are rules on the quality that you have to provide for those products. Once you have registered a product, you have to follow your own specification. So this ensures that the banks receiving the ingots or the plates can immediately identify whether the product is a genuine one or not. So what is the application process? First of all, a company to apply has to be in existence for 5 years and has to be refining the metal in question, platinum and or palladium, for at least 3 years. The annual production of refined metal has to be at least 500 kilograms, and obviously the refiner has to have the ability to produce bar or plates. It's important to say that the 500 kilograms do not have to be in the shape of bars or any investment product. It can as well be in the shape of a sponge or powders. And finally, the company has to have a net worth of 15 million Great Britain pound. The application process is well described on the web page of the LPPM. I will not go too much into detail. You basically need to submit a significantly long list of documents. You have to provide pictures of the bars and pay an application fee. And once the LPPM has decided to consider the application of the refiner has to send 3 bars to London for inspection. Those bars will be sent to one of the 5 referees. They will be melted, they will be analyzed, and they will ensure that the manufacturing company, the refiner, has also the ability to analyze properly the product it is putting on the market. And first of all, to enter on the good delivery list or to stay on the good delivery list, the refiner has to follow the responsible sourcing program. This program was put in place in 2019, and the main goal of the program are to ensure that all human rights are respected when you are talking about those metals, to ensure that those operations are not fueling conflicts, and to ensure that all anti-money laundering, anti-terrorist regulations have been followed. This is, to be honest, it's probably the toughest part of being on the LPPM good delivery list. Historically, it was difficult for technical reasons, and nowadays it's mostly difficult for the responsible sourcing requirements. Those responsible sourcing requirements are based on the OECD due diligence guidance for conflict-affected and high-risk areas. As we all know, PGMs are not really coming from such areas, but by extension to what has been done for gold, the same rules have to be followed. And in here we have a slight, I wouldn't say problem, but we have a slight issue in China, because as you all know, China is not strictly following the OECD guidances. I would like to make a very small digression to talk about a project which was launched almost 2 years ago by ISO, and specifically the Technical Committee 174 called Jewelry and Precious Metal. This technical committee has started a project to make a new standard on responsible sourcing of precious metals, including obviously platinum. And this project is seeing the strong participation of the National Body for Standardization of China, SAC. We have some representatives of this body in the room today, and they are strongly contributing to such standard. And we may hope that in the future, organizations like LPPM will not necessarily directly refer to the OECD guidances, but directly to an independent ISO standard. But for the moment, it's still based on OECD, and it is putting, I would say, a certain burden on the refiner, not only on their own operations, but also on their own supply chain. So where they source the metal from, and also where they sell their product to. There is a couple of requirements which are there, and we have to understand that there are also problems linked with PGMs and with platinum. For example, the auto-catalyzer theft. This has been a very big issue in the market since a couple of years. And the LPPM also wants, through the use of this responsible sourcing, ensuring that we don't get in the circuit material that has been stolen, which would be detrimental for every user. It's also worth to underline that many industrial users are more and more requiring PGMs to come from LPPM accredited companies, simply because it provides an extra level of safety when you are thinking at the risk associated with the sourcing of the precious metals. Together with every good standard comes a set of audits, and obviously the Platinum Responsible Sourcing Program is no exception. All auditors have to be vetted by the LPPM. They have to follow training either from LPPM or from LPMA, and upon the conduction of the annual audit, you will have a result which hopefully leads to a pass, but could also lead to a fail, in which case a remedial plan will be put in place to ensure that the identified problem have been corrected. So we talk a lot about the plates and the ingots, but the reality is that, especially when we talk about industrial application, the main product used is in fact sponges. Sponges are not deliverable in London and Zurich per LPPM rules, which means that as a refiner, you cannot send a bucket of platinum in sponge and have that accepted by the vote. This is not working. However, a couple of years ago, LPPM has put a sponge accreditation program in place. It's working similarly to the good delivery for the plates. It's a program where refiners will be tested on their ability to produce those sponges. And as you can see on the slide, LPPM added also a couple of years ago rhodium on that list. The requirements are similar. You will have some purity requirement, a bit different for rhodium, it's 3.9, as well as oxygen content analysis, which is quite important for PGMs. If a company do not wish or cannot make any ingots, there is a possibility for that refiner to only apply for the sponge accreditation, but in that case, you still need to go through the same amount of process and also pass the audits. So the Chinese PGM market is developing really a lot over the couple of last years, and I personally expect that this development will continue exponentially. The possibility to join the LPPM good delivery list is also a possibility for those companies in China interested to obviously not deliver in London, because this is not possible today, but to apply the same amount of rules as used everywhere else in the world, and this is likely going to increase the possibility to sell those products to industrial users. In case of any question, the LPPM is happy to answer any specific questions you might have, or to launch any application process, and obviously if you have something more specific, I can be reached out, either here at the conference or anytime by email. Thank you very much for your attention.